Om. Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. So we are on the verse Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam Gunakarma Vibhagashah Tasya Kartaram Abhimam Vidya Kartaram Avyayam. So know that although I am the author of this, I am not this fourfold grouping of people, a division based on duties and qualities, was created by me. Even though I am its author, know me to be a non-doer, ever changeless. Akartaram avyayam. So we saw this that in the Vedic context, they're divided into four different groups. But this is universal in that every other place you have some division that happens, some classification. So in the Vedic context, people are divided into four groups based on two aspects. One is gunataha, based on the qualities, and karmataha, based on the karma they do. So understand me to be the maker, the karta of this fourfold division. At the same time, I am the non-doer, akarta. Understand that I'm not the karta, I'm the non-doer, akarta, because I am changeless, avyaya. I do not undergo any change whatsoever. I do not undergo the change to become the karta. How can Krishna say he has created all this and also say he's the non-doer? In order to resolve this apparent contradiction, we will first look at the division of people based on guna and karma. Then we will look at how Ishvara can be their karta and at the same time be a non-doer. So, what is the nature of the gunas? Yesterday we saw these divisions. There are only four aspects possible based on the combinations of sattva, rajas, and tamas. The division of people according to qualities, guna vibhaga, is found all over the world, not just in India. The qualities upon which this division is based are psychological, meaning that they refer to the composition and disposition of the mind. The division based upon the quality of the mind, manoguna, is fourfold, as we shall see a little later. The gunas or qualities themselves are three in number: sattva, rajas, and tamas, the meanings of which we shall also see. Everyone has these three qualities, and from certain combinations of these three qualities, four groups are derived. One possible composition of the three gunas is sattva, rajas, tamas, wherein sattva is predominant, rajas is less predominant, and tamas is the least predominant. A second composition in the order of predominance is rajas, sattva, tamas. Similarly, the third composition is rajas, tamas, sattva. And the fourth is tamas, rajas, sattva. These four combinations are the only four compositions possible. There can be shades of each of these four, but a fifth composition is not possible. Why, you may ask, can tamas, sattva, rajas not be possible, or sattva, tamas, rajas not be a fifth and sixth composition? By looking at each of the three gunas involved, we shall see why only four varnas or groups of people are possible when the division is based on their gunas. Sattva stands for any type of thinking. Rajas stands for activity. And tamas stands for dullness, inactivity. Contemplativeness, inquiry, silence, shanti, and the disciplines, shama and dhamma, are all sattva. Discipline is also found in a person in whom rajas is predominant. But there will be a lot of ambition, energy, and enthusiasm along with it. The go-getter, for example. Tamas is a certain dullness, lethargy, and laziness. Everyone is a combination of these three, and as we have seen, the combinations can vary. Babies, for example, are tamas, rajas, sattva. Tamas being predominant, they sleep most of the time. As they get older, rajas predominates and they become very active. You compare a newborn baby to a 1-year-old or a toddler, right? So initially it is tamas, rajas, sattva. Then after they grow up, as they're growing up, it becomes rajas predominates. Finally, when they're grown, we expect them to be sattvikas. So the four groups of people according to guna. The sattva, rajas, tamas composition is a very beautiful description of a person's inner composition. So before we go here, so what are the four things possible? The combinations are sattva, rajas, tamas. That is the first possibility. The second composition is rajas, sattva, tamas. And then the third composition is rajas, tamas, sattva. And then the last composition that's possible is tamas, rajas, and sattva.
So, Gurudev, and which are the combinations were not
Not,
possible?
not possible combinations are tamas, sattva, rajas,
Ah,
and sattva, tamas, rajas.
Sattva, Tamas, Rajas. Okay. So next to Tamas, there won't be Sattva.
Yeah. And we'll see why. Why these two combinations are not possible. Right? So the sattva, rajas, tamas is a very beautiful description of a person's inner composition. A person can be predominantly contemplative, a thinking person, because of which certain things are very evident to him or her. Any emotionally mature person, any inquirer or philosopher, anyone who thinks predominantly about fundamental values, the ends in life, and so on, is naturally a combination of sattva, rajas, tamas in that order. In such a person, sattva is predominant, backed by rajas in second place, tamas taking third place. This then is one type of person. The second type will naturally be rajas predominant. When rajas is predominant, the second can be either sattva or tamas. So when sattva is predominant, there can only be rajas in the second place. You cannot have tamas. Why? Because he is a thinking. When sattva is predominant, there is a certain amount of thinking, contemplativeness. When rajas is predominant, the person is very active, fired by a certain ambition. When this ambition is directed to the welfare of others and to certain ideals, there is a lot of thinking involved. Therefore, sattva is in the second place. The person's enthusiasm and actions being backed up by thinking. Such people generally become good leaders. The world needs such leaders. Then we have the third group. So the second group is rajas predominant. This can be of two types. The activity can be towards the welfare, towards the betterment of people around. Then it becomes rajas followed by sattva and then tamas. Whereas when we have the third group of people are those who are always active, having rajas predominant, but who have tamas rather than sattva in the second place. This means there is ambition rather than thinking behind their actions. So there is ambition rather than thinking behind their actions. An example of ambition without thinking is when someone goes after money, power, or whatever without any consideration for others. Because such a person also has some sattva, some thinking capacity, he or she will not only be very active, but may also be very clever, very intelligent. But because tamas is predominant over sattva, there will be a lot of scheming, manipulation, and exploitation of others. So the second one is where rajas is predominant, but the ambition overtakes the contemplativeness, the mature thinking. And therefore, tamas is in the second place, and sattva is still there. There is some thinking, but that thinking is put into manipulation, scheming, and exploitation of others. If, on the other hand, sattva is backing up the rajas, there will be consideration for other people. There will be a respect for life and for wealth and for the freedom of others. Whereas when tamas backs up rajas, there is only disrespect for dharma, meaning there will be no regard for others. For such a person, individual ambition is most important, and he or she becomes a despot. Rajas being predominant, such people also become world leaders. If they do not become leaders, only their families and perhaps their neighbors suffer. Whereas if they assume world leadership roles, the results can be devastating. So when tamas is backing up rajas, there is disrespect for dharma. There is no respect for others and others' lives, no regard for others. For such a person, individual ambition is most important. So it is only I, me, and mine. There is no what can I do for others. So there is action, no doubt. But rajas being predominant, such people become world leaders. And if they do assume world leadership roles, the results can be devastating. The fourth type of person, wherein tamas predominates, presents no such problem. At worst, these people are small time criminals and at best, simple employees, not out of any real contentment or anything, but simply because of dullness. Such people have no ambition whatsoever, not even to make money. In fact, they have already decided that they cannot make money. If I could make money, I would have made it long ago, they will say. And then to justify their laziness, they add, who needs money anyway? And if such a person has a little ambition for something, he or she will not work to make it happen and will compromise at every turn. This then is what is meant by dullness, tamas.
See, a lot of people of this quality, especially in India, I'm sorry to say this.
Mm,
In the name of philosophy, they'll say, oh, who wants money? Who will work? All that. Lazy people in the end of the day. Yeah.
yeah. Gurudev says, no, there are two ways dispassion. One is, I let go out of desperation. The other let go is out of understanding. But this one is because they do not even want to do anything. That inertia is so much in them. They're manipulative. They just say, oh, I'm not doing it because who needs this money? And they may be falsely quoting scriptures, false dispassion.
Yeah,
So
devils. Yes, correct.
it is
Mm.
not out of maturity, it is not out of understanding, it is not out of a higher capacity, contemplative thinking. It is out of, it is
Indolence.
prompted by that laziness, prompted by not wanting to do anything. If a tamas, rajas, sattva person wants to become sattva, rajas, tamas, he or she has to become rajas, tamas, sattva first, then rajas, sattva, tamas, and only then sattva, rajas, tamas. So this is the order of evolution for a tamas predominant person. There is no jumping possible here. It is a process involving growth, and this is what maturity is all about. This is also what we mean by karma yoga, whereby one becomes mature by doing karma with a karma yoga attitude. So what is the steps for growth? Who is a tamas, rajas, sattva? As we've seen, naturally, all of us as babies are tamas, rajas, sattva. Now, from here to evolve into the highest possible combination, which is sattva, rajas, tamas, one should first become rajas, tamas, sattva, and then rajas, sattva, tamas, and then can become sattva, rajas, tamas. Up to Rajas, Tamas, Sattva, growth is simply a matter of performing karma, pursuing one's own ends according to dharma. Only when one performs karma with the attitude of karma yoga does the person become Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. This is the person who can become a sannyasi. Shades of difference exist within each of these four groups. For example, Rajas, Tamas, Sattva can be a criminal or just an ambitious salesperson. So there are different shades possible, different degrees and intensities possible in the same category. So a Rajas, Tamas, Sattva person can be either a criminal or can be just an ambitious salesperson. When the latter invites you into his or her place of business with a smile, you may end up paying for the smile too. There is a rank selfishness in this type of person that makes him or her convert every action into dollars and cents. Rajas, Tamas, Sattva people can follow either dharma or adharma. Shades of difference being there. Once you reach Rajas, Sattva, Tamas, you automatically follow dharma. So in a Rajas, Tamas, Sattva person, you may follow dharma or you may follow adharma. Whereas a person who evolves into Rajas, Sattva, Tamas is completely dharmic. Why? Because the sattvic thinking is backing up the Rajas. When Tamas comes in, there may be scheming, manipulation, selfishness. Whereas Sattva comes in, there is selflessness. There is dharma. There is that clear thinking of what is right and what is wrong. So any discussion before we go on to the next section? So why then is Tamas, Sattva, Rajas not possible? Or Rajas or Sattva, Tamas, Rajas? These two combinations are not possible, right? These are the two combinations that we are told is not possible. So Tamas, Sattva, Rajas or Sattva, Tamas, Rajas is not possible. So a person cannot be tamasic if the Sattva is backing it. If Sattva is backing it, the only possibility is Rajas. And similarly, Sattva, Tamas, Rajas. You cannot have a Sattvic person that is backed by Tamas. See, because what is Sattva? It is a form of thinking, inquiry, contemplativeness, Shama and Dhamma. So when this is there, Sattva, Tamas, Rajas, how can there be Tamas? The person is propelled into activity. He is not propelled into inertia. So naturally, the second predominant quality in that person will be Rajas. it cannot be tamas. Similarly, when tamas is predominant, when that inertia is so predominant, it cannot have sattva in the second place. Sattva is so subdued and therefore tamas is expressed. And the next possibility, because see, all of us are made of these three qualities. So there has to be some expression, some shades of each of this. No one is only tamas. Absolute tamas, absolute rajas, absolute sattva don't exist. There are always combinations of these three gunas. As long as you're caught up in these gunas, we have shades of these three expressing. Only a jnani who becomes nistray gunya, he rises above the three gunas, nirguna, he becomes devoid of this. So either you have these gunas and then you have them in three different, all the three express themselves in different intensities. And from these three gunas, there are four combinations possible. Sattva, the highest form, is sattva rajas tamas, which is a karma yogi. And then you have the next option is, next combination is rajas sattva tamas, a dharmic person, an ethical person. Then a little lower down, inferior to that, is the rajas tamas sattva, where a person may still be dharmic, but there are shades of differences. He can be adharmic as well, like a criminal, like a terrorist. Maybe a terrorist will be coming into the quality of tamas. So the last combination possible is tamas, rajas, sattva. All of us are born and we grow up as tamas, tamas, rajas, sattva, and then we are supposed to evolve into the other categories and finally become sattvic. But not everybody becomes sattvic. The universality of the fourfold division. Anybody wants to share anything before we go on to the next one? Please share up. Yeah.
Giri, out of the two combinations, one is uh, Rajas, Sattva, Tamas, which is Tamas, Rajas, Tamas, Sattva, and Rajas, which is not possible. Which is the other one which is not possible?
Sattva, tamas, and rajas.
Yeah, and the other one?
Tamas, sattva, and rajas.
Okay, thank you.
From sattva directly, they can someone go to tamas, or he will go to rajas first and then tamas? That combination is not possible because next to sattva, there cannot be tamas.
Yeah, next to sattva, you cannot have tamas. And next to tamas, you cannot have sattva. We'll understand it better
We
as
need to
we go
say,
forward.
Yeah, move forward
from
and
sattva
maybe
people can go down. So in that case, from sattva they can go directly to the tamas also.
What is it? I didn't get it.
From sattva people falls down is said before. So from sattva, can they go to directly to the tamas? Can it be possible? As from sattva to from tamas to sattva is not possible. From sattva to tamas is possible.
It is not from tamas to sattva, but it is about what is predominant at that time. And this is very dynamic.
But
It
because
is
of these gunas, the activities will happen in that person. No? That's
correct.
when. Huh.
So when even an enlightened master, for example, when he's sleeping, what is predominant? Tamas is predominant there, right? So it is dynamic. This is the overall um, composition of the person's qualities. Whether he's predominantly a contemplative, thinking person, discriminating person, or is he driven by ambition, driven by that feverishness, that desire. And then when it is driven by desire, ambition, is it dharmic or adharmic? And then is he so dull and lazy that he does not even want to explore the world? He's so kind of uh, mm, uh, ignorantly dispassionate, not dispassionate out of knowledge, out of understanding. He is so um, there is no that enthusiasm even to explore the world for his um, he is he seemingly is content, but he is content because he does not want to do anything. So that is the the tamasic category. And when you are so tamasic, there cannot be sattva immediately, because if there was sattva, that will goad you into some form of activity. So the only combination possible with tamas predominant is tamas, rajas, sattva.
Thank you.
So that is why they say, let them at least start doing something. See, that is why Krishna has been telling Arjuna, do. This karma yoga is for you. Action. Do not be attached to inaction. So in that karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, ma karma phalaheturbhuhu, ma te sangostva akarmani. So it's very beautifully mentioned there, because you have only right over your action, but you have no control over the results of your action. So why at all do any action can be the natural and natural thinking. Krishna wants, he said, don't be attached to inaction. And that inaction is what? Tamas. Is don't get that tamas inside. Because once you're, um, uh, tamas predominant, there is no evolution, so to say. You're just stuck with that tamas. So from that, the only way possible is to start acting, doing something. And in this doing, when it is backed by sattva, then you are backed by discrimination. You will do things which are right. You know that you can discriminate between right and wrong. There is clarity in your thinking. Whereas if your rajas is backed by tamas, you are deluded. You don't see right and wrong. So there's a possibility. Even there are shades of rajas, tamas, and sattva. So you may be a criminal, or you may just be a well-meaning, ambitious person who's selfish, who's not doing things for others, but who's doing things for himself. And then finally, the best combination is that of sattva, rajas, tamas, which is what a karma yogi is. So his actions are backed by discrimination, by shama, dhamma. So I know what you were saying was, if the sattvic person falls, like Shurasya Dhara, Nihita Duratyaya,
Yes.
he will fall into tamas, is what you're saying.
Yeah, correct.
But there is some effect of his sadhana, his whatever his, so he will pick up the threads and start moving up again. When he falls, I don't think he will fall into tamas predominance. He will fall into rajas predominance. Because that is the next step, right? That the penultimate step is what? Rajas, sattva, tamas. So he will become rajas, sattva, and tamas. He might just get very ambitious if he falls from that razor sharp edge. See, even in the Puranas, you see, what do you see? You see an evolution from tamas, rajas, sattva to sattva, rajas, and tamas. So all these demons, if you look at how they are cursed, this the Dwarapalakas, because they insult the Saptarishis, right? So when they go to Vaikunta, that's how they all started off. Jaya, Vijaya, they become these pairs of demons. Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, the brothers. Then Ravana, Kumbhakarna, all of them. So and when they are redeemed of their curse, they evolve again. And all the demons also were doing a lot of practices. They were not dull completely, right? They were rajas, tamas, sattva predominant. I think we'll understand better as we read further the universality of the fourfold division. These are the three qualities which cause the differences in groups of people, not only in India, but all over the world. Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas belong to Prakriti, to nature, which belongs to Bhagavan alone. On the basis of this Prakriti, then, This division of people according to qualities, this guna vibhaga is done. So what is Prakriti here? Prakriti is nothing but Maya. So there are these three qualities which are universal. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. These belong to Prakriti, which in turn belongs to Bhagavan. And on the basis of this Prakriti, then, this division of people according to gunas, qualities is done. All people come under the four groups formed by the possible combinations of the three gunas, because everyone has to work his or her way through the four compositions in order to mature. In the Vedic context, the people having the first combination, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, are called Brahmanas. Those having the second combination, Rajas, Sattva, Tamas, are called Kshatriyas. Those having the third, Rajas, Tamas, Sattva, are called Vaishyas. And those having the fourth combination, Tamas, Rajas, Sattva, are called Shudras. This then is the Guna Vibhaga, the fourfold division based on qualities referred to in this verse. So the Brahmanas are Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. They are the thinking, contemplative, inquirers, philosophers. Then you have the Kshatriyas who are Rajas, Sattva, Tamas. They are the ones who protect. They are the ones who are doing things for the nation or for the country. And then the third is Rajas, Tamas, Sattva. All the business people, Vaishyas. So there is an element of adharma, maybe dharma, adharma. There's a combination, shades possible there. And then the fourth combination is Tamas, Rajas, Sattva, where there's hardly any thinking. It is only backed by inertia. Now that is the Guna Vibhaga, right? Then you have the duty-based division among people. There is another kind of division inherent in this system. Also fourfold, the people of each division being called by the same names. This division is based on duty, karma vibhaga. The duty of a Brahmana, for example, is to teach and to officiate at rituals. His life is one of prayer for the welfare of the society, and he lives very simply with no more than the barest essentials. He must practice Shama and gain Dhamma. He studies the Veda, teaches, and serves as an officiating priest, undertaking all those liturgical activities that are the duties of a priest. The society requires that certain religious activities be conducted, and the Brahmana is responsible for them. He is a priestly person. So the same names are given, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, but this is based on the duties they perform. So the duties of a Brahmana are what? To officiate, to do rituals, to educate. For who? For the welfare of the society. And he lives very simply with the barest of essentials. He practices Shama and to gain Dhamma, studies the Veda, teaches. So the society requires certain religious activities to be done, and the Brahmana fulfills that. Thus, there is a guna-wise Brahmana and a duty-wise Brahmana. Now see the difference, right? So, there is a guna-wise Brahmana. Guna-wise Brahmana is what? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. who is backed by contemplative, mature thinking, a true karma yogi. Similarly, there is a guna-wise kshatriya and a duty-wise kshatriya, whose duty is to protect dharma, be committed to knowledge and protect the Vedas. As a kshatriya, and what is a kshatriya? What is the guna vibhaga of a kshatriya? Rajas, sattva, tamas, right? As a kshatriya, Arjuna's duty was to rule and protect the people in terms of administration, judiciary, law enforcement, and defense. All these functions fall under kshatriya dharma and are duties to be done in every society. A Vaishya is a person who deals in commerce, wealth, farms, agriculture, and so on. Commerce involves bringing things from the place where they are produced and selling them in other places where they are needed. Thus, a Vaishya is the one whose duty is to make things available to people. I'll read this one more time. So, a Vaishya is a person who deals in commerce, wealth, farms, agriculture, and so on. Commerce involves bringing things from the place where they are produced and selling them in other places where they are needed. Thus, a Vaishya is the one whose duty is to make things available to people. The person in the fourth division, Shudra, provide the hands and legs, eyes and ears for the others. Their duty is to serve, and without such people, nothing could be accomplished. The activities they perform are found in all societies in the world and must be done if the society is to function. So, what do the Shudras that we understand do? They're the janitors, the cleaners, the menial workers. Basically, the hands, legs, eyes, and ears for the others.
Here, Jai Gurudev, a mother may have four children. One may work, as a professor. Second one may be work in an army, is a Kshatriya. Third one may work in a businessman. Fourth one may work in Walmart. So, these are the qualities, right?
Right. So here there is no Janma Vibhaga. It is only Guna and Karma Vibhaga. Right? The problem India is facing now is because by Janma, people are categorized. But they may not be Brahmanas by Guna or Karma. Anyway, we'll not get into that Janma Vibhaga. So in the Vedic religion, the activities of each of the four groups of people are converted into duties and are enjoined according to family. We do not know when all this started, but whoever was doing the duties of a Shudra or a Vaishya or a Kshatriya or a Brahmana kept passing these same duties down to his or her children. Strictly speaking, anyone who does the work of a particular group should be known by the name of that group, regardless of which group he or she is born into. See? So, strictly speaking, anyone who does the work of a particular group should be known by the name of that group, regardless of which group he or she is born into. For instance, if he is born into a so-called Shudra, because his father was a Shudra, but this person has learned, is evolved intellectually, has done IIT or becomes a NASA scientist, he should be called a Brahmana. He cannot be continued to be called a Shudra. A person who is born into a Brahmana family but does Vaishya karma is a Vaishya. A true Brahmana, on the other hand, is one who, having been born into a Brahmana family, lives a simple life so as not to exploit the society, studies and teaches the Veda, and performs the obligatory rituals for the welfare of the people, just as his father, grandfather, and great grandfather did before him. So, this paragraph clarifies it, right? So, karma, janmataha, you may be a Brahmana, but if you're doing a Vaishya karma, you will be known by your karma vibhaga as a Vaishya. Based on the order of thinking, the kind of thinking that is going on inside, guna vibhaga also happens. And then you are either put into sattva, rajas, tamas. A Vaishya does not mean because he is a Vaishya, he cannot be a karma yogi. He can be a Vaishya or be a karma yogi Vaishya, wherein sattva, rajas, tamas is predominant. So basically, any combination is possible in this of the four compositions. Duties being there, we have these four groups of people. Of course, duties can be transgressed, but that is not the point here. The duties themselves, the karma, are the basis for the division of people, each group having its respective duties. Thus, there are Brahmana duties, Kshatriya duties, Vaishya duties, and Shudra duties. Why is all this required? For the harmonious functioning of the society, of the world, of the universe, creation. Because there are so many, these are roles and responsibilities to be fulfilled. A man who is a Brahmana in terms of karma, duty, may chant the Veda, officiate at rituals, and so on. But guna-wise, he may be ambitious and may want recognition. Such a person is not sattva, rajas, tamas. So what is he? He is rajas, probably sattva, tamas, or maybe rajas, tamas, sattva. If, however, he carries out his duties with the attitude of karma yoga, he is sattva, rajas, tamas. Then his attitude is, this is my karma, my duty. These duties are to be done by me. They are my offering to the Lord. So any repetition required? We have about 4 minutes. We can share our thoughts. I will just go back and read this part. So this we understood, right? The guna vibhaga and the karma vibhaga. So Brahmana is one who officiates, who teaches, who learns and teaches the Veda. Because the society requires certain religious activities to be performed. So a priestly person is a Brahmana by karma. Then you have a guna, you may have a guna-wise Brahmana or and a duty-wise Brahmana. But a duty-wise Brahmana need not necessarily be a guna-wise Brahmana. It does not automatically be. He might be ambitious. How many priests do we find? Unfortunately, because of the need for money, there's so many corrupt priests who keep asking for dakshina, right? So they're only duty-wise Brahmanas, but they're not guna-wise Brahmanas. Similarly, there is a guna-wise Kshatriya and a duty-wise Kshatriya. Duty-wise Kshatriya are all these world leaders, but are they guna-wise Kshatriyas? Are they Rajas, Sattva, Tamas predominant? Most of them, unfortunately, are corrupt. So they are only Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. And a Vaishya is a person who deals in commerce, wealth, farms, agriculture, so on. The Vaishya is one whose duty is to make things available to people. So Vaishya can be Rajas, Sattva, Tamas, or Rajas, Tamas, Sattva. Both these are possible. An ethical businessman versus a non-ethical businessman. Then the fourth division is Shudra, which is Tamas, Rajas, Sattva. So this category of people, they're not thinking, they don't think much. They only do. They're only action oriented. There's not much of contemplativeness. Their capacity to inquire is not much. Does not mean a Shudra who is born Shudra cannot become guna-wise Brahmana. So that possibility is there. Like you look at Kabir Das and all of them who were born into a so-called Shudra family, but they were enlightened. Valmiki, for instance. So basically, evolution is possible in any form. So branding them as Brahmana, Vaishya, Shudra based on just the karma, the janma was never there. It just crept in. It happened, yes, because the father would pass it down to his son pass it down to. But somewhere there was some deviation, maybe because of samskaras. We don't know how that happened, but you have, although you may be born in a Brahmana family, you end up doing business or you end up doing, becoming a world leader rather than the guna and karma vibhaga that Brahmana is supposed to be doing. So we'll stop here. Anybody
Doubt.
wants to share?
I have a doubt,
Yeah.
Nirajit.
Yeah.
Is it okay to be, born in a family of the same job and then have an attitude of working, interesting? Two different things. Is it so? That means both are acceptable.
No, I didn't get the question.
No, the thing is, if a person is born in a, let's say, Kshatriya family, and
Yeah.
if he likes to be a Kshatriya, he can continue. If he doesn't want to be a Kshatriya, he can want to become a Vaishya, he can become that, right? Both are acceptable.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. That's it.
But then I think as we read further, we'll understand the society was divided into this based on their roles and responsibilities. So if you look at when Buddhism came in, everyone was asked to take a begging bowl and meditate. There was actually a disruption of society at that point. Now, if everyone takes a begging bowl and meditates, who is going to take care? Who will protect the country from invasions? Who will do the Vaishya part aspects? Who will clean the neighborhood? So, being whatever role you're doing by your karma vibhaga, you can still evolve. You can still be a karma yogi. You can be a karma yogi Shudra. You can be a karma yogi Vaishya, Kshatriya, and a Brahmana. Isn't it? So we'll take this up tomorrow. We'll continue this.
Little more, we'll ruminate on this tomorrow.
Yeah, well, let's mull over this, ruminate over this. And I mean, I was thinking, this is what Swamiji has put forward, his perspective. We can read what Gurudev says about the gunas. Check out read about what Gurudev's knowledge about this is. And so when we read two or three other masters who have given their perspective, then I think it'll become clearer. But otherwise, this is it. It's very clear that it is only guna and karma vibhaga, not janma vibhaga. We have politicized it so much, made it janma vibhaga, and that is why India India is reeling in that caste system, entangled in its own ideology. But it was never meant to be that way. According to the Vedic system, it was meant to be guna and karma vibhaga. So this we have to be clear as sadhaks and students of the Gita. We should be clear in our mind. Yeah. Om loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om shanti shanti shanti. Om tat sat. Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.